Yeah, this last bit of lessons, it's talking about there's no conflict. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. That's 331. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. And forgiveness ends the dream of conflict here, 333. So what is this conflict in us? Why do we have it? What would end it? And what is the forgiveness that would end it, right? There is no conflict, for my will is yours. That's 331. Then there's something like, fear binds the world, forgiveness sets it free. Then it says, forgiveness ends the dream of conflict here. And then it says, today I claim the gifts forgiveness gives. And those are the gifts of God. You all should know them by now. Peace, happiness, quiet mind, certainty of purpose. Those ones that I send you out, that picture of Jesus with them on there. So those are the gifts of God. And that's what this whole year is about, living in the vibration of those gifts, right? And then now these lessons are preparing us to step in there. Like, conflict and the will of the Creator can't go together. So if we're in conflict, that means there's part of us that doesn't want to make our will one with God's. That's just as simple as it can be. If we're experiencing conflict in our life, then there's part of our will we're holding back, and we're not turning it over, and we're trying to manage it ourselves, and we're not really saying, okay, take this over, Holy Spirit. It could be a conflict in our body. We could be having an issue in our body. Could be a conflict in our work. We're having an issue with colleagues at work. Could be a conflict in our relationship. We're, fighting with our partner. Lord help us if we're doing that, but you know what I mean? So if there's any conflict whatsoever, then there's a piece of our mind that's not turning it over. We're not making our will one with our Creator in that area. And then we have to ask ourselves, well, why are we not doing that? What do we think we gain by managing by ourselves without the help that ends up not fully at peace, So that's interesting how this set of lessons start. And it's also interesting that this set of lessons is about the ego. That's the theme of this set of lessons. What is the ego, right? So then it starts saying, well, it gives you what the ego is not. The ego, if you're not in the ego, then you're not in conflict. If you are in the ego, you are in conflict. And to be not in conflict, your will has to be one with your Creator. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. Well, who is yours? Yours is God's. My will is yours. My will is the Christ mind. My will is the mind of God. And in that, there is no conflict. So when my will is one with the mind of God or the will of God, there's no conflict in that. There can't be, just by definition. So that's an important lesson in undoing the ego. Why? Because, well, it gives us a litmus test. It's like, if there is conflict showing up in our life, we know that's where we're hanging on to our ego. In that area, could be money, could be, whatever. Could be a number of things. We live in a complex world here with many facets, so we could maybe have an area of our life like our relationship, where we're living in, pretty good harmony. But then we could have another area of our life, could be money, where we're, off. So we have to use that kind of litmus test. Where are we in conflict? Where are we not at peace? And then that is the area where we're trying to manage it. We're trying to, fix it. But we're not letting the Holy Spirit in there. Because somewhere in the text it says, if you have a problem and it's not solved, that means you haven't turned it over to the Holy Spirit and you don't want it solved. I know that sounds kind of tough, but that's basically what it says in the text. If you have a problem and it's not solved, then that means you didn't want it solved and you didn't want to hand it over to the Holy Spirit. Because if you did, it would be solved, right? So Jesus doesn't let us wiggle around that one. It's like he corners us and it's like, well, okay, then your ego's still in operation there. Here's Sandra Ray. Oh my goodness, Sandra Ray, can you wait a minute, say hello at least. Yeah, everybody's here. Say hello.
Well, we just finished the LT here. It was fantastic.
You're seeing double munduns today.
Sandra.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, Michael.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, double munduns. So Sandra and I have been looking at this, like, okay, where are the areas in our life where we still have some conflict? And I think it's mostly for her and me, our bodies, that would be where we're holding conflict somehow, we've got a little pain here, a little ache there, little something there. Yeah. So most of our process now is with our health and our bodies. And don't beat yourself up or anything when you notice that you are in conflict. We're not walking on water and raising the dead yet, so we still have something to clear. So don't beat yourself up more and make the conflict more, but notice the areas where you have to apply. Okay, well, maybe in this area I'm not balanced, or I'm not doing everything correctly, and there's where my imbalance is, and there's where I have the conflict. And maybe I have, if your personal I is I'm guilty, there may be some area where you love to hold the guilt, right? So it could be like, okay, I'm not handling this thing in my body because then I get to feel guilty and maintain that thought. So you see, there's always some thought underneath it, but we have these little pet areas where we may be holding conflict. And that's where we kind of have to forgive ourselves and also take a closer look at that. And that's where the undoing has to happen, maybe more, Like, for instance, Sandra and I communicate a lot. So usually we don't have, some people do the silent treatment in relationships and they don't communicate. We never have that. We talk about 3 or 4 hours a day. So that's an area we've got going pretty well. We don't usually have conflict in that area. So just do kind of an inventory, maybe just make some basic chart of, these are the major areas of my life and where am I holding conflict? Because that's also the area where you're not making your will one with your Creator's will. There is no conflict, for my will is yours. So if you are in total 100% alignment with your Creator's will, you're not going to have conflict there. It just can't be. So these lessons are very preparatory, like they're getting us ready for these I'm telling you, these last 20 lessons, there's going to be something happening with us. I can tell you that right now. And I'm looking forward to these podcasts because they're going to be revealing something that we haven't known before, because we've prepared ourselves, this far. And some of you were with us last year, so we had all those podcasts leading up to it. Then this year with part 2, and now all of a sudden we're kind of entering into this sanctum, this most sacred part of the workbook, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah.